Welcome back, everybody, to the Miami Marlins franchise here on MLB The Show 23. We are currently wrapping up the month of May, getting ready for the summer months here in season number 4, and the team is in a very strong position currently. We are 32-21 in second place in the National League East, 5.5 games behind Atlanta, and we are currently the #1 wild card in the National League as well. The one small issue I have right now is that the offense has kind of caught a rough patch over the last 2 weeks, and we're going to need to clean it up because we have the big series against Atlanta coming in today's episode. In the last episode, we also looked at the minor leagues. The AA team won the game we played 7-2, while the AAA team lost it 5-2, but the AAA team has since then gone on a win streak. We, of course, have been super banged up, but Luis Robert should be coming back from his broken hand within the next few days. He got injured during the first week of April. But Nick Fortes and Gavin Lux are still out for a while, and Jordan Hicks, of course, is out for the entire season. So we're still going to have to replace the production from those guys. But it will be nice having Luis Robert back, who played really well through the first 7 or 8 games of the year before he got injured. Looking at the lineup, the offense, other than the last 2 weeks, has obviously been quite good. We're seeing the development of Woody Landry as he becomes a true star. We saw Ryan Poles make his big league debut in the last episode. And then the pitching has been really inconsistent, but Edward Cabrera has been phenomenal. He is a legitimate Cy Young candidate. He leads all qualified pitchers in terms of having the lowest ERA, and he's allowed the least amount of home runs in the National League. He is currently in second place for the Cy Young behind Kyle Wright. It's fitting that these two are at the top because they actually pitch against each other in the first game of the Atlanta series later today. Outside of Cabrera, though, it's definitely been a mixed bag, especially with the starting rotation. Sandy Alcantara has been up and down. Yuri Perez has been up and down. The bullpen's been quite good, though. That's been nice. A lot more consistent than last year. Before we hop into this Braves series, though, I actually want to look at this Giants series first because San Francisco is a really intriguing squad. I know they're 3 games under 500, and they don't look like a real threat to the wild card now, but I think they have some real talent. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has legitimately played like an MVP. Trace Thompson has been phenomenal as well. And they've got some good pitching as well. Vlad is currently the front runner for the MVP. They've got a former high pick in Mariano Rosas playing well. Corbin Burns is also looking like a Cy Young. Since we'll be playing the game with Edward Cabrera and Kyle Wright, I actually want to look at one of the games with the lesser pitching matchups. So we're going to simulate to this second game, and sure enough, Luis Robert is now officially healthy as we would end up winning the first one 4-3 in extra innings with Luis Robert back as Dayuri Ruiz will be sent down to AAA over Kevin Alcantara. Kevin's been playing quite well. I'm happy to keep him around. The on-base percentage is a little low, but he's hitting for good power. His average has been more than fine, and the rest of his numbers look pretty solid too. So let's now hop into Game 2 of a 3-game set here in San Francisco against the Giants. Of course, I almost picked the Giants for franchise this year. They were my second choice behind, of course, the Marlins. Should be a fun one here at Oracle Park, one of the most beautiful stadiums in all of baseball. So it should certainly be a fun one as Miami looks to win the series by taking home the second game. I'm curious to see how Yuri Perez looks like on the mound. He's been super inconsistent as of recent, and I think I would have crushed that ball right into the McCovey Cove. Wow, what a meatball. Here's a look at both lineups. Regular starters for the Marlins. Luis Robert back healthy as well, playing his first game in nearly 2 months. And we'll be facing off against Josiah Gray. 5.8 ERA, 1.53 WHIP. Has not been very good this year, despite the fact that it is a hitters-friendly park. And he'll be facing off against Bo Bichette, who gets to face off against his former Blue Jays teammate, Vladimir Guerrero. Bo Bichette will draw a walk. That's an early base runner for the Marlins. We'll see if they can get some runs here in the first inning. Jazz Chisholm is up now. He's got a full count as well. The Marlins really working the count early, and Jazz will take his base as well with a ball 4. So that's 2 runners aboard now, and a huge opportunity for the 20-year-old first baseman Woody Landry as he pops this one up. And I think he timed the pitch pretty well, but I think it just kind of got under him, and he will fly out to left as it is caught by Austin Hayes. Let's go to the bottom of the first where we get a look at Yuri Perez, the 21-year-old righty who's obviously had his ups and downs throughout his big league career. This year he started off really well, then he wasn't pitching so well. We'll see how he does today against a pretty talented Giants lineup, and San Francisco is going to get rolling quickly. Josiah Barrera gets this one to one hop off the wall out in right center. In a lot of parks, that ball probably is a home run, but here in San Francisco, he doesn't get as lucky, but he will take a triple, and the Giants have a runner 90 feet away from home with nobody out. Will Wilson is up. He's going to ground this one to third. Chisholm deflects it, and the runner will be safe at first. Barrera scores, and it's 1-0 off of the RBI infield single by Will Wilson. That does look a whole lot like Chris Bryant, though. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. grounds it up the middle. Perez hesitates. He'll get the one out at first. I guess he forgot the runner was on, and by the time he was going to throw it to second, he realized it was too late, so he'll just take the one out. That'll bring up the big slugging third baseman, Munetaka Murakami, who strikes out on the curveball. Let's move into the second inning, 1-0 Giants. Brian De La Cruz rips this one for a base hit into right field, and with one away, the Marlins get an early runner. We'll see if they can potentially drive him in, as that'll bring up the catcher, Austin Wells, who hits this one high and deep into center field. Back at the track, it is gone! A home run for Austin Wells, his third of the year, and the Miami Marlins are on the board. They'll take a 2-1 lead. With Nick Fortez's injury, Austin Wells has been a primary catcher really over the last month or so, and he's played legitimately well. Bottom two now, Austin Hayes is up. He's hitting .335 on the year. Goes down looking on the low curveball. Nasty pitch by Yuri Perez, who's trying to find a groove after a slow start. Into the third now, Luis Robert draws a walk. He'll take his base for the first time since his injury. Runner aboard here for Woody Landry. We'll see if the Marlins can look to potentially extend the lead as Woody crushes this ball into right center field, into Triples Alley. Does it have enough carry? It does! A two-run moonshot off the bat of Woody Landry. That is a no-doubt home run in just about any other ballpark. Probably goes out of the entire park at Yankee Stadium. But here at Oracle, it takes a little bit to get over, but it does. A monster swing for Woody, his 15th home run of the season. And the Miami Marlins extend the lead. They've already gone deep twice today, and it's now 4-1. What a beautiful swing by Woody Landry. That one 108.7 miles an hour off the bat, going over 430 feet. The Marlins looking to keep the strong inning going as Jesus Sanchez will strike out on the fastball. Good inning, though. The Marlins add another two-run homer, courteous of Woody Landry. And it's 4-1 going into the bottom of the third. Hunter Bishop, the center fielder, leads it off for the Giants. Grounds this one, and it kind of like stopped midair. A whopping 36 off the bat. Josiah Barrera is now up for the Giants as this one is grounded to short. Bo Bichette has trouble with it, bobbles it, and he will get charged with the E6. So there's now a runner aboard. That'll bring up Will Wilson. Drove in a run during his last at-bat. This time he goes down looking. At this point, the inning should be over, but it's not. And the Giants will capitalize. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. sends this ball a long way into left field, absolutely crushing it. A two-run homer of his own, his 20th of the year, which leads the National League. And the Giants bring you within one as it is now 4-3. The balls are flying out the park here at Oracle. Munetaka Murakami will strike out. That'll wrap up the third. Busy innings for both teams as their star first baseman each go deep with two-run homers. Let's go to the fourth now. Brian De La Cruz got a hit during his last at-bat, and it looks like he could get another one as it is hit into no man's land and to right, and it'll drop. A bloop single for Brian De La Cruz. He's now 2 for 2. And the Marlins open up the inning with a runner aboard for Austin Wells. He, of course, homered in his last at-bat, and he will draw a walk. So there's two runners on and nobody out. That'll bring up Kevin Alcantara. Big at-bat for him. He hits this one sharply into right, and it will be caught. What a catch for the first out of the inning. The Splash Bro, Trace Thompson, the older brother of future NBA Hall of Famer Klay Thompson, comes down with an awesome catch. It looked like he kind of hesitated a little bit, but he makes an incredible grab for out number one. That'll bring up Luis Ariz now. Grounds it up the middle. The Giants can end the inning, and they will. 6-4-3 double play. Good inning for the San Francisco defense as it remains 4-3, and we move into the bottom of the fourth. Trace Thompson coming off his big grab. Leads it off for the Giants. He singles into right field, and San Francisco has another base runner. Yuri Perez has allowed quite a few hits in this game. He's got to clean it up. Thairo Estrada now singles into left, and the Giants will open up the inning with two runners aboard of their own. Great opportunity to tie or maybe even take the lead. Austin Hayes strikes out. Yuri Perez needed that one badly for out number 1. That'll bring us to MJ Melendez. He goes down to the curveball. Another great pitch by Perez. That'll bring up Hunter Bishop. He will draw a walk, and the bases are loaded. A huge at-bat here for the leadoff man, Josiah Barrera, and he's going to hit this one well into right field. Sanchez is unable to make the play as it again goes right into Triple's alley. Barrera will stay at second, but not before clearing the bases with a 3-run double. And the San Francisco Giants take the lead at 6-4. The Giants are fired up, and with that, Yuri Perez is going to be yanked out of the game. 3 2/3 innings, 6 runs allowed, 5 of which were earned. I feel like the error really threw things off, and that's kind of what led to the downfall of Yuri Perez today. Another shaky start from him. He'll be replaced by the long reliever Max Meyer, 4.11 ERA on the season. He's been up and down, a little bit banged up, but since he came back from his injury a few weeks ago, he has been playing really well. So hopefully he can keep it going as Wilson grounds it to short. Hopefully Bo Bichette makes the play this time, and he does. Big inning, though, for the Giants. They drive in 3 off of a bases-clearing Josiah Barrera double. The Giants will make a pitching change of their own as Jacob Junis will come into the game. 3.88 ERA on the season for him. He'll face off against the reigning NL MVP, Jazz Chisholm, to start things off. Jazz has a full count. He'll walk for a second time today. And the Marlins will get an early base runner with 1 away. That'll bring up Woody Landry, who homered in his last at-bat to drive in 2 runs. He's going to look to make another play here, ripping this one hard into center field, 108 miles an hour off the bat again, as that'll go for a single. And now there's 2 runners aboard here, 2 away, full count for Jesus Sanchez as he grounds it up the middle. That'll go for a base hit. He really shouldn't have swung at that pitch, but he does, and it proves to be a good decision as Chisholm scores. And it's now 5-6 off of the RBI single from Jesus Sanchez. If you like offense, this has been the game for you. So much offensive firepower across the board. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. checks his swing for the first out of the bottom of the 5th. Minataka Murakami 0 for 3, 3 strikeouts today. That's a hat trick. Meyer looking to strike out the side, and he will. Trace Thompson goes down on the slider. So Meyer's able to strike out the 3 best Giants hitters in a row. Let's move into the 6th inning. 1-run game. Austin Wells with a moonshot right into right center field, and that one is gone. Austin Wells, have yourself a day. His 2nd homer of the ball game. He only had 2 homers, not just this season, but 2 homers through his entire big league career coming into the day, and he has doubled that total here at one of the most pitcher-friendly parks in baseball. We are now tied at 6, and the hits are going to keep on coming. Kevin Alcantara singles into center field. That's an early base runner for the Marlins as they look to potentially regain the lead. The top of the order wouldn't really do anything, so that would bring up Jazz Chisholm, who has a full count. And Jazz will go down looking on the sinker. He thought he would draw a 3rd walk, but unfortunately does not get the call. Not a bad inning, though. The Marlins do tie it with the homer by Austin Wells. The Giants are looking to get some hits going as Thairo Estrada singles into center field to lead off the bottom of the 6th inning. Looks like the hits are just going to keep on coming for these teams. Estrada digging for second. The throw is timed well, but Austin Wells threw it a little high. Estrada's now on 3rd. 2 away for Hunter Bishop. He hits this one into right. Sanchez should be able to make the play, and he will. Max Meyer has been awesome out of the bullpen. 2 1/3 innings, only 1 hit, no runs allowed, as it is still tied at 6 going into the 7th. Luis Robert leads things off. He has a full count, and Robert rips this one into right center field, right into the gap of Triple's alley. Robert's got to be thinking 3, maybe 4. Yeah, no, I don't think he's thinking 4, but he'll take a triple to start the top of the 7th inning. Welcome back to the lineup, Luis Robert, his first triple of the year. So Junis will be taken out of the game. He'll be replaced by the former Marlin, J.T. Chargois, who was with us back in Season 1 of the series. He hasn't pitched in the big leagues since Season 1 up until this year, where he's actually been really good, 2.5 ERA. His first matchup will be against Woody Landry, who's 2 for 3. He's had a big day, but he strikes out on the slider. Great pitch by Chargois to get things going. That'll bring up Jesus Sanchez, who really just has to put the ball in play here to drive in the runner. And Sanchez will do exactly that. He crushes it into center. That'll certainly score the 1 run as it is caught. No base hit for Sanchez, but an easy sacrifice. Luis Robert scores without much issue, and it's 7-6. The Marlins take the lead. Good at bat for Sanchez. That'll bring up Bryan De La Cruz. He has a pair of hits today, potentially looking for a third. He won't get it, but he'll take the walk instead. I think part of the reason why Bryan De La Cruz has been really good this year is that his approach at the plate has been significantly better. Austin Wells draws a walk as well. I would not want to throw to Austin Wells either. Wells is 2 for 2 with 2 homers and 2 walks today. Big at bat now for Kevin Alcantara. Full count, 2 runners on, 2 away. He'll take a walk as well, and the bases are loaded for Luis Arraez, who has not had much of the game today. He's 0 for 4, but he is ahead in the count. And Arraez rips this one into right center field. 1 run scores. A second will join. It's a 2-run single for Luis Arraez, and the Marlins lead it 6-9. Nice. The Marlins rocked their former pitcher, J.T. Chargois, and so he'll be taken out of the game, replaced by Casey Rosado, who will face off against Bo Bichette. Bo will line this one into left, but it's just barely foul. That would have scored at least 1, maybe 2. Following pitch now for Bo, with runners on the corners and 2 away. He'll go down looking on the high fastball. Great inning, though. The Marlins score 3 off of a sac fly from Jesus Sanchez and a 2-run single by Luis Arraez. Into the bottom of the 7th now, Dylan Tate will replace Meyer. I thought about keeping Meyer going, but with that inning kind of lasting a while, for good reason, since we scored 3, I figured I would just go to the bullpen here. Tate has only allowed 1 run so far this season, looking to keep his great campaign going as he strikes out Josiah Barrera, who's had a great day for the Giants. Will Wilson hits this one high and deep into center field. Back at the track, at the wall, it is caught. Good play by Luis Robert. That one is also a home run at a number of ballparks, but not here in San Francisco as we move into the 8th. Jazz Chisholm rips it up the middle for a hit. The offense explosion is just going to keep on coming. The Marlins offense has not been great over the last 2 weeks, but boy, have they awoken tonight. Luis Robert is now up, had a triple and scored in his last at-bat. He will check his swing. Umpire says he didn't go around, and that'll be a walk, his second of the game. 2 on, nobody out for Woody Landry, who has a pair of hits and a pair of RBIs. Is going to look to potentially get some more in. He crushes it into right center. That one will 1-hop off the wall. Run scores. A second will join. A 2-run double for Woody Landry, who has now driven in 4 runs in this game. And the Marlins extend the lead. It's now 11-6. Another pitching change for the Giants. They will bring Taylor Rogers into the game. He's had a solid year, ERA at 3. He'll face off against Austin Wells, who's had a great game here. He's reached base in every at-bat, and he will chase the outside slider. Good inning, though. The Marlins get 2 more thanks to Woody Landry, and we will go into the bottom of the 8th. The former San Francisco Giant, Camilo Duvall, is into the game. Started the season off slowly, but he has pitched well, albeit in only 7 innings. Thairo Estrada with 2 away, grounds it to short. Bo will make the play. Pretty easy 1-2-3 inning for Camilo Duvall. Ever since Yuri Perez was taken out of the game, the Giants have gotten 1 base runner since then. The Marlins bullpen has been shut down, and they'll look to finish off strong with Reynaldo Lopez coming in to finish off. Lopez has been great this year. He's only allowed 3 runs in over 23 innings of work. He'll strike out Bishop, and that'll do it. The Marlins win it here in Oracle, 11-6, your final score. The offenses really came out. The Giants hit the ball well, at least through the first 4 innings. And then after that, they only got 1 base runner against the Marlins bullpen. Miami's offense stayed strong for the entire game. 11 runs, 12 hits, 2 homers for Austin Wells. Woody Landry went 3 for 5, a single, a double, a dinger. He drove in 4 runs. And then the other ones were driven in by Jesus Sanchez and Luis Arraez, who each had 2. Yuri Perez was not good, but the bullpen was. Meyer only allowed 1 hit, and then Tate, Duvall, and Lopez were perfect. Phenomenal work by the bullpen. They're the reason why we were able to win this game pretty soundly. The Giants' offense was so good early, too. Josiah Barrera was great, Vlad with the big homer, but their pitching really let them down, and their offense couldn't hit the ball after the 4th inning. Good win there. We will go for the sweep leading up to our huge series at home against Atlanta. We've got Sandy Alcantara on the mound for the final game, so that should bode well for us as we look to sweep the Giants on the road. And sure enough, we would do exactly that. We would win the game and improve to 35-21, another really good showing by the offense, and that'll bring us into our matchup against the Braves. But before that, we're going to talk some scouting. We're going to go over some of the top high school prospects in this year's draft. Last time around, we looked at some of the better international prospects, and today we'll be going back to the States, looking at some of the better prospects from American high schools. As we start with starting pitchers, there's some real depth here with Fletcher Gill, Robbie Jude, and Daryl St. Aud. I think St. Aud is probably the best of the group, so we're going to look at him specifically. I think he could be a real fit for the Marlins. He fits exactly what they look for in a guy who's got pretty good stuff. He's got a good breaking ball, throws decently hard. His walks per nine is his best per nine attribute. He keeps the ball in the strike zone, and he knows how to control it. St. Aud is projected to go early in the second round, but our scouts view him as a potential top 10 talent. Since our second round pick is in the 50s, we would probably have to use our first round selection to choose him if we want to. I think Pete Quisenberry, also from California, like St. Aud, is another option who's going to be picked a little bit later down the board. Quisenberry is another guy who has great control. He doesn't necessarily have as good of walks per nine as St. Aud. I think that's the big difference between the two of them. But I think for the value of getting Quisenberry in the second or third round, that could end up being a steal. He throws hard, and he's a total workhorse. He makes it through large amounts of the game, often 7-8 innings at least. Let's look at some position players now. We'll start with Elliot Ramirez, a left-handed hitting second baseman from Kansas. I think Elliot Ramirez is a guy who could be at the top of your order if developed properly. This is somebody who has good bat-to-ball skills. He hits for good contact. The plate skills are there for 18 years old. And he's got a smooth lefty swing while also playing a good defensive second base. I don't think he's ever going to be a guy who hits more than 25 homers a year. But other than that, he doesn't really have many weaknesses with his defense, his contact, his plate skills, and his best attribute, his speed. He can absolutely fly. We've got two really talented first-round third basemen. We'll start with Ronald Rodriguez. He's actually from Puerto Rico. He's currently going to a prep school in Florida, so that's why I'm putting him here with the American players. Rodriguez is a guy who I think really could be worth a top 10 selection. I'd be a little bit surprised if he fell to the Marlins' first-round selection at number 20 overall, but if he does, I imagine he'll be very high on the Marlins board. He's got all around a pretty good skill set offensively without many major weaknesses. He can hit for contact, he can hit for power, he's a good defensive player. Doesn't have a great arm though, so I think maybe you move him into second long term rather than keep him at third base. Then you've got Brian Sanchez, and this guy can absolutely swing the bat. One of the best hitters at the high school prep level. He has dominated really everywhere he has played, whether it's the high school circuit or the international circuit or playing in all-star games. The guy just absolutely rakes. He's one of the best offensive prospects in this year's draft, and the Marlins seem to prioritize offense with their position players that they pick. Think Woody Landry and Isaac Stu. The last player we're going to look at is outfielder Satchel Allert. He comes from Maryland, and I think this is another guy who could eventually be somebody at the top of the order. Good contact, especially against lefties. His plate skills for an 18-year-old are phenomenal. He doesn't strike out a whole lot, doesn't swing and miss too often. Very good plate discipline, good defense, good speed. I feel like he's the total package, but similar to the second baseman, Elliot Ramirez, who we talked about earlier, he doesn't have a lot of power, but that's fine. There are still certainly roles for players like him. So that'll wrap up this edition of the Prospect Profiles, going over some of the top high school players in this year's draft. And now let's get back to the big league squad. So with that, we will now put our attention into this massive series against the Atlanta Braves, who have been the best team in baseball so far. After a down year last season, they are back. They're 39-17. They've got the edge over us in the division by a few games, and we've got a 3-game set at home, with this first game being the most important because of the pitching matchup. Kyle Wright against Edward Cabrera, two Cy Young candidates. Wright is the favorite, while Cabrera is currently in third place. We're currently 4 back, and we can really make up some ground if we win these games. So let's see what Edward Cabrera can do in one of the bigger regular season games in the month of May that you will see. This is a super pivotal series that I think will really set the tone for the rest of the season within this division race against Atlanta. If we can take 2 games, especially this one, that would be a big deal. For the occasion, we're going to be rocking the 90s throwbacks in this one. The Marlins will be rocking with most of their regular starters. They want to put their best foot forward because they know this game is a super important one. Let's get a look at Edward Cabrera, the Major League leader in ERA at just 1.64. He has a whip at 1.11. In 66 innings, he is striking out 65, and he's only allowed 2 dingers. He has been unbelievable, and he'll get his day started off strong as he strikes out Joel Miranda. 2 away now for Ronald Acuna. He's having another phenomenal season, per usual with the Braves. He'll take a walk, and the Braves get their first base runner of the game. That'll bring up Pete Alonso, who has really been slugging the ball here in his second season with Atlanta. Goes down on the outside slider. That pitch way out of the zone. Cabrera completely fooled him. As good as Edward Cabrera has been, you could argue Kyle Wright has been even better. The ERA is a little bit higher at 1.97, but he's pitched in 16 more innings. He has a lower whip, and he leads all pitchers in pitching WAR at around 3. He'll face off against Bo Bichette. He hits this one sharply into center, and that'll drop for a base knock. The Marlins get their first base runner of the game as Bo Bichette is aboard. Jazz Chisholm is up now for the Marlins. I'm excited to see how Jazz performs here against Atlanta. This is a guy who knows how to play well in big games. Doesn't really perform in that at bat as he goes down on the sinker. And we go to the second, no score. Matt Olson goes down looking on the curveball. 1-2-3 inning for Edward Cabrera. So far, so good. He looks quite strong through the first 2 innings. Into the bottom half of the second now, Luis Robert is up for Miami, and he will strike out on the slurve. These 2 pitchers look like the real deal right now. Only 1 hit for the 2 teams combined. Sean Murphy goes down looking on the curveball to kick off the third. Woody Landry, as you can see, is catching today, by the way. Nick Gordon goes down on the sinker. Cabrera has made a full way through the Braves lineup, and he has allowed 1 walk and no hit. Good stuff. We'll see if he can retire the side again in the third against Joel Miranda, who rips this one sharply into right field as it bounces off of his face on the wall. That'll be a double for Joel Miranda, the first hit of the game for the Braves. They have the runner in scoring position with a prime opportunity to get some runs in. That'll bring up Zach Jensen. He grounds this one to first. Luis Ariz will make the play, and that's 3 scoreless innings for Edward Cabrera, who continues to pitch some outstanding baseball. Let's go to the bottom of the third, and we'll see if the Marlins can, score. Gennaro Miller will lead off the inning. He will take a walk, so Miller is aboard to get things going. 1 away now for Luis Ariz. Pitch on its way from right as Ariz hits this one into the opposite field. That'll go for a hit. And the Marlins seem to be getting something going here in the bottom of the third. They've got 2 runners on. We'll see if they can drive these guys in and be the first ones to score. Huge at bat for Bo Bichette, who has a full count. A walk would be nice. It loads the bases. You know what's cooler than a walk, though? A strikeout looking. Yeah, Bo Bichette goes down looking. I was trying to dupe you guys there. 2 away now for Jazz Chisholm. He finds himself ahead in the count, 3-1. Again, a big opportunity with him being ahead to potentially drive in some runs. Or take a walk, too. That's cool. So now the bases are loaded. A big at-bat for Woody Landry, who we just saw drive in 4 runs against the Giants. What an opportunity this is against his hometown team. Woody being from the state of Georgia, grew up a big Braves fan as a kid, rips it up the middle for a single. 1 run scores, a second will look to join. It's a 2-run single for Woody Landry. And the Marlins are on the board first here in South Beach. Woody Landry continues to produce. He really is the best hitter on this team right now. And so there's runners on the corners, 2 away for Luis Robert. He'll go down looking on the inside fastball. Good inning, though. The Marlins got 4 base runners, including a 2-run single from Woody Landry. Let's move into the 4th inning now. Ronald Acuna goes down on the inside sinker. The Braves are really struggling to put the bat to the ball. Edward Cabrera has had some nasty swing and miss stuff today. Here's another one. That pitch well out of the zone, way low, and Pete Alonso gets fooled. Can Cabrera strike out the side? He does. This time it's below an outside circle change, which fools Austin Riley. All 3 of those strikeouts came off of pitches outside of the zone. The Braves offense is getting completely fooled. Well, maybe not Ozzie Albies, because he hit this one sharply. 111 exit velo for a leadoff double to open up the 5th inning. The Braves are the runner in scoring position as they look to finally bring themselves on the board. Matt Olson swings at a sinker, well out of the strike zone again. Sean Murphy grounds it up the middle. Going to be a tough play for Bichette, and he got the out at first. Good throw by Bo Bichette. Ozzie advances to third, but the Braves are going to need a base hit here from Nick Gordon. They're not going to get it. He checks his swing on the outside sinker. Another strikeout for Edward Cabrera, who looks dominant right now. 5 scoreless innings. Cabrera currently on the day has 10 strikeouts. The Braves have not been able to touch his stuff. Bottom 5 now. Luis Arraez rips this one high and deep into right field. It goes off the wall. Arraez going to dig his way to second, sliding safely with a leadoff double. I'm sure the Marlins would love to extend this lead as Arraez is now on third for Jazz Chisholm, who has a full count. Jazz drew a walk in his last at-bat, and he will take another one here on the inside slurve. Runners on the corners now for Woody Landry, who drove in the first 2 runs of the game off of a single. No runs since then. Could Woody potentially change that as he skies this one high and deep into left field? Back at the track, at the wall, it is gone! Woody Landry strikes again! A 3-run homer, his 16th of the year, and the Marlins are up 5-0 against the National League Cy Young frontrunner, and it's been Woody Landry doing all of the damage. He has driven in all 5 runs today. Man, is this kid special. I didn't think that ball had enough carry into left field. I knew it would score a rise from third off the sacrifice, but I didn't think it'd go over the fence. And with that, Kyle Wright has been knocked out of the game. 4 1/3 innings, 5 runs allowed. Woody Landry, you are him. Marcus Stroman, the veteran, will come out of the bullpen for Atlanta. 4.58 ERA on the season, and he will face off against Luis Robert to get things going. 2-2 count for Robert. He will hit this one sharply into right field, and the hits are going to keep on coming for the Miami Marlins, who really hit the ball well off of Kyle Wright. They got 8 hits against him in not even 5 innings. Jesus Sanchez is now up, and he will ground this one right to third. Should be an easy double play. 5-4-3. Riley to Ozzie Albies to Pete Alonso, and we will move into the 6th inning. Edward Cabrera, unlike Kyle Wright, is still dealing, although he allows a leadoff single to Joel Miranda, his 2nd hit of the game. Miranda with 2 of Atlanta's 3 hits today, as he's now on second for Ronald Acuna, who goes down chasing the slider. Another strikeout for Cabrera, his 11th. That'll bring up Pete Alonso, who hits this one sharply into right field. That'll certainly score the run as it makes its way to the corner. Alonso digging for second. He is going to be safe with an RBI double, and the Braves are finally on the board as it is now 5-1. Alonso's 9th double of the year. That'll bring up Austin Riley. He goes down on the outside slider. Again, pretty much all of Cabrera's pitches have been well outside of the zone. He is completely fooling them, but he does allow a run here, and the Braves are on the board. Let's go to the bottom of the 6th inning now. The Marlins looking to add to their lead. They feel like they're in a good spot with Cabrera potentially looking at one more inning as Anthony Santander hits this one into the opposite field. Nice at bat here for Tony Taters as he is aboard with a leadoff double as the Marlins are looking to add some more runs to the scoreboard. Orelvis Martinez is up, getting the start at third base today. He grounds this one to second. Ozzie Albies will make the play, but Santander will score, and it is a 6-1 lead for the Fish. Luis Arraez is up now. He's had a great game, 2 for 3. Had a big double in his last at-bat. And Arraez will look to get his 3rd hit of the game as this one will drop into center for a base knock. The Marlins with another runner on as they look to potentially add to their lead even more. Bo Bichette now up for the Marlins. He hits this one up the middle for a single. And Miami's getting a little 2-out rally here in the bottom of the 6th. That pitch was well out of the zone, but Bo Bichette had to protect being down 1-2 in the count, and it proves to be a good decision. Count is full now for Jazz Chisholm. He goes down looking on the slider. Good inning, though. The Marlins add to their lead here, driving in a run as it is 6-1. Edward Cabrera is going to stay in the game here in the 7th inning as he will strike out Matt Olson. It looked like it hit him, but he swung. He checked his swing. Now against Sean Murphy. Grounds this one up the middle. Cabrera will make the play, and that'll end his night. Edward Cabrera trying to show the world that he's a legitimate Cy Young candidate. Goes 7 innings, 13 strikeouts. He had some absolutely filthy pitches, only allowing 1 run. What a game from Edward Cabrera, who continues to look like a legitimate superstar. Into the bottom of the 7th, Stroman pitching pretty well so far this inning. But Jesus Sanchez will draw a walk, or does he? Reminder, Jesus Sanchez has the most unfair strike zone in baseball, and so he's got to keep the at-bat going. I don't know why umpires hate this guy. It's so weird. Sanchez will take his anger out on the call by singling into left field. Nick Gordon unable to make the grab, so it proves to lead to a base hit for Jesus Sanchez, who's hit right around 300 this year. He's been quite good. That'll bring up Anthony Santander! He crushes it into center field. How about another Tony Tater? 2-run homer for Anthony Santander, and the Marlins extend the lead. It's now 8-1, his 9th of the year, 442 feet. That was a moonshot. He will knock Marcus Stroman out of the game. He'll be replaced by the righty Darius Vines, who has an ERA just shy of 5 on the year. Hits are going to keep on coming. Brian De La Cruz coming off the bench. Did not get the start today, but as a pinch hitter, he's going to drill a single into left field. That'll bring up Kevin Alcantara, also entering the game here off the bench. Full count. He will go down looking on the fastball. Good inning, though. The Marlins get 2 off of a homer by Santander, and they lead it 8-1. It's time for the bullpen to close things out as Adonis Takadopoulos will come into the game for Miami. 2.89 ERA on the season. He's been pretty solid, just under 10 innings, and he will retire the side. Zach Genton goes down looking, had a hanging curveball right down the middle. I don't know why he didn't swing. Into the 9th inning now, Ronald Acuna leads things off with maybe the weakest hit double I've ever seen. But hey, a double is a double, and the Braves have a runner in scoring position to open up the inning as they look to start a little rally. Runners on the corners for Ozzie Albies. He will line it into right, caught by Alcantara. Acuna will look to score off the sacrifice, and he is safe as it is now 8-2. Put your rally caps on, kids. The Braves might be coming back. Matt Olson instead just goes down looking on a knuckleball. Spoiler alert, the Braves ain't coming back. Big win for Miami. They take this one 8-2 in a series, but the Marlins have a lot to prove. This game specifically, I think it's fair to say we proved a lot. The offense was great. Woody Landry in particular, he drove in 5 runs, including a 3-run homer. And in a battle of arguably the 2 best pitchers so far in the National League, Edward Cabrera 100% had the upper hand over Kyle Wright. Wright had one of his worst games of the year, which doesn't say a lot because he hasn't had many bad games, but we really hit off of him today. 4 1/3 innings, 5 hits, 5 runs, 4 walks. As for Edward Cabrera, my God, was he impressive. 7 innings, 1 run allowed, 4 hits, 1 walk, 13 strikeouts. I will say Atlanta's plate discipline in this game was horrible, but that's partly because Edward Cabrera's pitches were so nasty. What a great performance, a statement win, our biggest victory of the season so far, led by our 2 best players, Edward Cabrera and Woody Landry. Yes, I just called those guys our best players. Those 2 have been 100% the 2 best players on the team this year. Cabrera has not passed Kyle Wright in the Cy Young voting. I feel like he should, but okay. So with that, we are now only 3 back of Atlanta with 2 games to go. We're going to simulate our first few series in June against the Dodgers, Mets, and A's as we would split the final 2 games against Atlanta, and we would win the series, including the second game 10-3. Bo, Jazz, Berry, and Santander all went deep. The last game, though, we lost 10-9. The offense has been on fire over the last 5 games. We've scored like 40 runs. Probably more than that. It's probably a little bit more than 40 over our last 5 games after we forgot how to hit the ball for like 2 weeks and we couldn't score more than 4 runs in a game. So now we'll be simulating these series against the Dodgers, Mets, and Athletics, leading up to a series at home against the Phillies. Unfortunately, down in AAA, Charles LeBlanc dislocated his ankle. He is out for the year. We ended up going 5-4 in the games we simulated. We took 2 against the Dodgers, only 1 against the Mets, and then 2 against Oakland. Finished off by a 13-2 win with Bo, Jazz, Woody, and Luis Robert all going deep. We are 42-26. We've made up a ton of ground, only 1.5 behind the Braves here into the middle of June. And we got some tough series in the next episode. Then the following episode, we will head to Atlanta for a road trip against the Braves. It should be fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.